All right, so we're going to have a little demonstration on what I think is one of the most important aspects of the painting process, and it's often overlooked. I see a lot of painters going straight into the painting process. You may have guessed it with a pencil in my hand. I am talking about drawing. This is a 6B pencil. I like it nice and soft. That's just my preference. A little scrap of paper here. So what I'm going to do with the scene that I have here is just make these little thumbnails. I'm sure you guys have heard of thumbnails before. Little drawings that describe the landscape, whatever it is that you're doing, your idea in different ways. And if we're going to be painting scenes, or we're going to be painting a scene, what makes us think that we can get the right composition, the right layout of objects, subject matter, right the first time right off the bat, and especially even without paint, without drawing underneath of it. So what I'm going to do here is just demonstrate what I do. Not enough, but I'm starting to do more. I'm just making little boxes here, and I'm looking at our scene out the window. Not while I'm drawing the box, but to get my information. And so what I'm going to do is just sketch some different layouts. And one thing I'm going to take into account here, first of all, is that when we're painting, we want to draw for painting. We don't want to draw for drawing, and that might sound confusing, but the difference between drawing for painting is that painting is more about masses of shapes than it is about lines, initially, at least. We have to have shapes that we can then put lines on with a painting, generally. So I'm going to draw with shapes in order to, so that I'm not working fully linear. I want to get my values, my light and dark shapes first. And I want to get those, I want to have different options so I can choose the best one. So what I've done here is just draw my box. Now I'm looking out the window and I see my shape. Now originally I might determine where, first thing you want to do is where do you think you want to place your subject matter. I'm looking at this building, for lack of a better word, subject, and sometimes that's not, your subject isn't just like an object, sometimes it's an idea, but generally speaking you have the focus where you want your mind to generally go. So all I'm doing here is just sketching out, so I started with line, but what I don't want to do is do the whole drawing with line and then fill it in, because then you don't have a proper understanding of your light and your darks as you're composing. So what you want to do is think about where your light and dark shapes are in relationship. So don't overthink this part of the, I put in some lines to kind of help me, but I want to really start to lay in, behind this building that I'm drawing, I've got some water. So I'm just going to throw the water in as a dark, not the darkest dark. I'm looking at the values that I see, and I'm just putting that in there. This is just one option, remember? So, and I also notice that the front of this building has a partial shadow to it. I'm not being too overly careful. This isn't my finished piece of art here. This is going to take me a minute or two each, and the work that you're going to have to save yourself in the long run from making corrections is just going to be like so much. There's that axiom, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of remedy. So I like to get it right the first time, not have to spend all my time correcting mistakes, So this is just an idea. I'm looking at my composition. It's snowy out. Got darks. There's a pile of wood here. I'm just placing my darks against the lights. And there's a window in here. It's at eye level. I'm just going to block it in like this. Get to that. I don't really like that window. I think in the future I might leave it out. You're not going into detail, and that's another thing. When you draw with the side of your pencil like this, you put these shapes in, you're really suggesting what you want to do. You're not going into these linear little lines that describe everything. And so what I've done is just that's one idea for, we call a value pattern. And I've worked mostly, you can think of your values in terms of 4 values, right? That's an idea. So this would be like, the snow would be like a 1. It's complete white of the paper. A lot of this information here, like the light shadow, might be a 2. And then this here, I'll often make these numbers on drawings as well, to help me know where I am. 1, 2, and then like 3 might be some of this area here, and maybe you decide your darkest dark is reserved for like in here, so you could put a little 4 there. That's just a little nomenclature or notes on your painting. So we did that. We don't want to do it again. So let's try, just for the sake of argument, let's just make a difference. Let's just say in this one, the horizon line is right here. So in this one, it's going to be up higher, and we just decide that we don't want to put it right in the middle, but we want to go a little lower than the middle. It's not too different. So that's a line, right? It's not wrong to draw with line, but I want to be thinking about values as soon as possible. So instead of putting the building smack in the middle this time, I'm going to put it over here off to the left just to see what happens. And I'm going to just sketch this general shape. I've got the pencil on the side. I can get lines, but I'm mostly using value. That's this shape here. I just moved it. And now I've got this. I'm looking down on the roof a little bit. The top of the roof is slightly above me actually, so I'm just going to make that correction. And this is about slightly below me, so your eye level is really somewhere in here. That's just a reference for my horizon line. And then I'm going to just draw the edge of the roof there. The edge of the building here is very close to the side of the canvas, which I don't particularly think is a good idea, but it doesn't matter. I did it to see what it would look like. And what does it cost me here? 2 minutes, So now I've got this tree over here, and I'm just going to shade that in as a big shape. It's just a big tree shape, right? Okay. Now I've got all this snow to work with, and now over here, actually, if you look out there and see the scene, that's the edge of where the water is, and then the water is slightly lighter than the snow. The tree is actually a little darker. Just getting these value relationships and placement right. There's the edge where the snow meets. Maybe I'll bring it up a little bit more. That's water, And then over there you can't see it, but there's a background that's slightly lighter than actually slightly darker than so it's dark, and I'm going to block this on as fairly dark. I don't have to be too picky with everything. I just want to get an idea for where I'm going to go with the painting in the future. If you want to get in here now and draw some line, that's fine. You want to clean that up a little bit, but remember, this is just a sketch to help your idea come across. There's a pile of wood here. It's just like little darks with snow over it, right? And then there's let's just say there's a path that in the snow like that I just drew in. All right, you can see here I've got a couple more drawings worked up. I did 2 more here, moving the horizon line a little bit back to where it was here, but then I placed the building off to the right on this one, made this tree go up off the paper, raised the background trees, put a path in. Here I raised the horizon line lower. That's an important decision that's going to determine really a lot about your composition. So if you're not sure what to do to get another one that's different, just drop or raise the horizon line, then that will do it. The building is a little bit off to the right here. I put a big pine tree here again, but I put in this other tree over here to kind of balance it and see what that did. I wasn't super sold on it, but I tried it. And so now I have 4 options, and it took me probably all of 5 to 7 minutes total. It might take you longer, but remember the key here is that, especially if you're outdoors painting, if you're inside painting in the studio, that's a little different. You've got some still life set up, but when you're outside painting, you don't have, take that 10 minutes, but don't take, 20 minutes, because then everything has changed. So the important thing here is establish compositional choices that you can use, and then choose which one your intuition tells you like the most. And the first one was dead center. That's not always great. So I don't think it's quite as interesting as some of the other ones. This one's up in the corner. It's got this dark shape, and then all this light. And you don't want equal proportions of dark and light necessarily. But the one that I'm really leaning toward is this one right here. I just like the way it feels. I like this path coming in over here to balance you and lead you back over to this shape. And I like the fact that the tree goes off the paper. It makes it feel really big. I like the fact that I've got enough space here for the wood pile. This just, little sketchy stuff you can't tell, but, you know, when it translates into a 16 by 20 painting, it's going to be a little different. So my next video is just going to show drawing on the actual canvas, and we can take a look at how we're going to approach that.